त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा श्री साई Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, youngsters and children, Sairam to you all. You know, when I first came, curtains were closed, only a little entrance was there. And as soon as I saw Swami's picture, exactly the same picture that is there at home in our altar, same size. So as soon as I entered, I felt I was coming home. So thank you very much for inviting me here, a far off place from where I am. Today also happens to be the birthday of my nephew. Swami named him Sai Hriday, and he is now a student in Prashanthili. So again, a special blessing. I thought that as I came into the center, I had the same altar as I was being invited into my own home at the time when I would have wished my nephew happy birthday. So it is not a coincidence that Swami pulls people. And as I was coming in from the hotel, Brother Shantan was telling me how Swami actually blessed the altar. How when the altar was being refurbished, how he had a plan and how we went to Prashantilam and how the plan was actually authorized and authenticated, validated, blessed by our beloved Bhagavan himself. So a very special place, I think, for me to come here today and spend this evening with you. And so to Sister Sena, to Brother Shantan and Sister Shivani, my real gratitude from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Sairam. In fact, Swami's feet is our spiritual home. Each one of us have got our own homes. I'm sure each one of us will give an address to that home. But the actual address for all of us is Swami's feet. Each one of us have been pulled by one way or the other. Sometimes we didn't like it. Sometimes we wanted it, sometimes we wanted it probably for lifetimes. But he ensured that each one of us were drawn to his lotus feet. And then we were made to experience that was our spiritual home. That's what connects each one of us here. The wonderful bhajans, the great energy with which you were playing the tablas, especially for the Jai Hare Krishna song, even when you went to the third speed. It's amazing. Now that's what actually, when you are playing that, you're not thinking of anything else. You're not thinking of anybody else. You are completely immersed and submerged in the love of our dear Bhagavan. And we offer all of that at his lotus feet as we put our head there. If I ask each one of you here, how did you come to Swami's lotus feet and how did it become your spiritual home? Each one of us will have a story to tell. Each one of us will have a saga to relate. Each one of us perhaps would write, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages of a story. And if each one in this room writes that, we already have a 500-page book from just one PJ center, isn't it? Imagine there are 2,500 such centers today as we are sitting here on a Sunday evening and singing Swami's bhajans. There are 2,500 centers across the world in the Satya Sai organization where at least 50 people would be gathered. And if you ask all those people, they too will write. Each center would produce a 500-page book. Imagine now, 2,500 volumes of 500 pages book of how we came and how Swami touched our lives and how he brought us into his fold. I don't think the Encyclopedia Britannica or any other book, any Vedas, no Veda would have so many volumes as the Satya Sai devotees' life stories. How God touched us, how He walked with us, how He ensured that we followed in His footsteps during these 85 years of His physical existence on earth. Even that thought is so uplifting. Even that thought, we sing many songs like I am a wave in the ocean. When will this wave become a part of the ocean? We already have become a part of the ocean. It's a massive ocean that we're looking at. So each one of us, as we sit here and sing our bhajans, each one of us as we sit here and say this is our spiritual home, remember that there is a much, much, much wider world out there where we are part of that large family which together feels that it is still at His lotus feet. That faith, that love, that understanding, that expansion of our heart and of our broad vision is very, very essential as we participate in our activities, be it bhajans, be it Balmikas, be it SSEHV, leadership training, so many I heard, leadership training program, be it any service activity, be it any spiritual activity, whichever we do, we must remember that we have been touched by this Lord of the universe, specially chosen. These 2,500 centers into 50 people, even roughly, even that is only just a little layer. In this world, there are so many other people who haven't had the great good fortune of making Swami's feet the spiritual home. So we are very special people. In my case, the faith developed when I was very young. I was an SSC student, I was a Balmika student as a 4-year-old student. Now I'm 49. So from 45 years on, 45 years ago, I came into Swami's fold. How did that happen? And I would like to share that story because I started with this theme of feeling at home with you, really. I didn't plan what to talk. I thought I would share some experiences. But as I entered it, and there were so many, what was our sister saying? How many of you came to the convention? 13, okay. So there are quite a few in this hall who probably haven't attended. There, one of the sisters who was a compere, was an anchor, was telling us coincidence. So for psi incidents rather than coincidence. There's nothing called a coincidence. So now that there are so many factors that are established that I'm speaking at home, I will share with you something very, very personal. So in my father, as you know, as from South India, when you come from South India, usually you are either a Bhakta of Shiva or Vishnu or Lord Venkateshwara. Nowadays, okay, even Lord Ayyappan has come up, but otherwise, in those days, 50 years ago or so, as I was growing up, it was mainly Lord Shiva or Vishnu or Lord Venkateshwara. Our family was generations of Shiva Bhaktas. We are Shaivites, and my grandfather, I remember, would get up in the morning at 3:30 and carry on his puja till about 8 o'clock in the morning. Only then he'll have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. So this is, I'm sure in many households that would have been the practice. And but my father, being he was a professor of pharmaceutical chemistry, so he trained in science. As he was growing up, he was wondering, why should I play to God, why should I break a coconut in front of him when I'm praying? Hey, don't say all that, man. You better break the coconut, otherwise your head will be broken, or your something, or your hand will be broken. Something like that they will tell him. Or put an agarbatti. And he used to say, why should I put an agarbatti? What am I doing? Why should I light a camphor? Hey, don't say all these things. You have to do all these rituals. If you don't do them, God will get angry. What you want in your heart, if you don't do these things, He will not satisfy all those wants. Like this, they used to tell him. And from fear that might happen, although he had all these doubts, he still would carry on and do that. But he was not satisfied. He used to think, if I want something from a human being, I have to please him, isn't it? I have to give him something, give him a box of sweets, fruits, chocolate, something. Then they will give me what I want. Then what is the difference between a human being asking a human being and asking God? God also will give me only if I give him something, like coconut and all this. What's the difference? Why should I pray to such a God? I can pray to a human being, isn't it? So like this, he had all these thoughts in his head. But he carried on praying. I was born, my sister was born. And my mother was pregnant with my brother. And as I say, he was a very science-oriented man, still a little bit religious. One day, we are from Hyderabad, our family. So one day he was passing in an auto rickshaw. You must have all seen in India the auto rickshaws. So as it was passing through one particular road, suddenly there was a lot of crowd on the road and the auto had to stop. And so my father asked, what is it, what's going on here? Some Swamiji has come. So people have come in large numbers to have they come for that reason. Darshan was never a known word in those days, So they come to see him. At that time, my father hadn't seen who it was, what it was in the auto, and this is from a distance. But on the public address system, on the PA system, somebody was talking. And when that Swamiji was talking, in Telugu he was talking, and in Hyderabad you don't need any Telugu translation into English. And my first auto was stuck there for about 5 minutes in that crowd. In that 5 minutes, this Swamiji, who was obviously our Swami, started talking about the inner significance of breaking coconut for God. The inner significance of lighting a camphor for the God. The inner significance of tonsuring your head when you go to Lord Venkateshwara. What does it mean? It is only symbolic. The inner meaning is more important. These are only symbolic acts. They are not rituals. As long as you consider them with an inner meaning and offer your ego down, like that Swami explained for each one, within 5 minutes, because there's no translation, no? And Swami's Telugu is so fast. Those of us who have heard, Swami's Telugu is beautiful. It flows like a river. And so within those 5 minutes, all these questions were being answered. Then my dad thought, I've had so many scholars in my home and all that, nobody explained all these things. This seems like an interesting Swamiji. Who is he? Then they told him that it is a Satya Sai Baba. My dad was in a hurry. So he said, next time he is here in Hyderabad, I'll make time and come and listen to his discourses. He seems to be talking some sense, others have not even said number. And with those thoughts, he left. So this was his introduction to Bhagwan Satya Sai Baba. This was the year 1972, around that time, 72. In 1972 December, my brother was born. And when he was born as a very healthy child. But within about 2 months, my brother developed a severe skin rash. Initially, they thought it was just a skin rash. And very soon, that rash spread to his entire body. Imagine this little 2-month or 3-month-old baby with a rash all over his body. The rash, they applied different things. The rash didn't settle. The rash became a little little abscesses. And the whole body then started getting covered by these abscesses. These abscesses would come together and become bigger. This is a 3-month, 4-month, 5-month-old baby. This was carrying on. My father himself was a professor of pharmaceutical chemistry. He had he was a consultant to quite a few industries, pharmaceutical industries. He had worked in Bombay before. He showed all the doctors in Hyderabad. They said nothing can be done at this time for this little child. We'll have to wait and see what happens. They took him to Bombay, and the doctors there said he has got some rare kind of skin disease. The only way to treat this is by giving him steroids. But some of you will know that for a young, if you give steroids, your immunity will go down massively. You are more prone to infections. As adults, we have got a good, well-produced immunity. We can withstand even any infection, colds, simple things also we can withstand. Whereas for a child, their immunity is not very well developed. On top of it, if you give them steroids and reduce it, then they are more prone to infections. Even a simple cold can be a major problem and can kill them. And they said that usually these type of children, by the age of 2 years, they succumb to all these infections and they die. Very few people will cross the second birthday. This is what they told him. My mother they went to different doctors. That is finished. So now who do you go to? Astrologers. See, once the doctors are finished, what do you do? What do you do? You go to astrologers, isn't it? What happens and all. And my family, again being a tradition of these Shaivites and Vedic scholars and all that, had every type of astrologer you can talk about. There is one Vastu fellow, there is one astrology fellow, and Navagraha, Anudra, every fellow is there in the each one is an expert in his own field. So one day, one gentleman who was in relationship like an uncle to my mother from our rural village, he wanted some help from my father, some admission to one of his daughters or something like that. So he came to my father asking for some help, and he was known to be a great astrologer. So my mother asked him, you have come here now, I've got this boy who is really difficult, is what they're saying. Why don't you put his horoscope and come and tell me what's going on? So he took all the birth details, everything, and he went. And after about 10 days, he came back again for some help. And at that time, my mother was more interested in the horoscope. So he said, she saw the horoscope, and first thing she saw there was that he had noted the birth time wrong. And he had produced a horoscope based on that wrong birth time. So she got really irritated. And she started shouting at him and then saying, what is this? I was living here with so much hope. Can't you take even the birth time properly? The argument ensued and all that. This man, suddenly he said, that my mother's name was Anuradha. So he said, Radhamma, why are you worried? Your son will be cured on the 7th of April. He said that. Son will be cured on the 7th of April. Now my mother is not a very highly educated person like my dad. So therefore, faith comes easily to people who do not have too much education, too much of this baggage. The more we are educated, the more baggage we carry on our head. Okay? Whereas the heart is the most important thing as far as spirituality is concerned. Heart is the most important thing as far as faith is concerned. Heart is the most important thing as far as love is concerned. So brothers and sisters, we all know that, but it is really important that we remember it all the time in our lives. So luckily for my mother, she was happy. She immediately accelerated, said, oh Mama, thank you very much, and everything. She was really great happiness. My dad heard this and he thought, what? 7th of April? Hey, who told you? 7th of April. Then he said, my father's name was Nageshwar Rao. So he said, Nageshwar, I don't know. But it just occurred to me that it will be cured on the 7th of April. Then my father asked him, okay, you don't know who told you, you don't know how you know this, but who will cure my son? Who will cure him? Then he looked up and he said, God will cure him. My father got even more perplexed. He said, God? What God? Which God? Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Parvati? Which one? He said, whichever one you believe in. Then in our home we used to have one big picture, almost this size, a half of Swami's, that picture of Lord Venkateshwara. You know, that picture used to be there. So my father looked up at that picture and said, you mean Lord Venkateshwara will cure my son? Then he said, if you think Lord Venkateshwara is your God, then he will cure your son. My father was even more angry with this. He said, what are you meaning by this? It's Lord Venkateshwara. You know where he lives now? Tirupati. You know how far it is from Hyderabad? 400 kilometers. And you know in what form he lives? Stone. So this man, this God, he is going to get up, the stone God, is going to get up, walk down the 7 hills, 400 kilometers. He'll have to inquire from my neighbors or somebody where I live. Comes to my house, and then he will cure my son. He's really angry. By that time, this man wants some help from me. That's okay. But you can't take me for a fool like this. I'm an educated fellow, You can't just take me for a... My wife is okay, she's not educated. But me? Come on, I'm a prof. He was really angry. He told me how angry he was. I was 4 years old at that time. And he said, look, Nagesham, I'm not as educated as you are. It just occurred to me and I'm telling you. This is my feeling. It is my wish. If you can't take it as anything else, at least take it as a blessing from an elder person who has studied some Vedams, has studied some astrology. Take it with that and please let me go. If you can help my daughter, please do. If not, please leave me alone. Because this man also. My father thought, the old man, something, he wanted some help. He wanted to please my mother, my wife, who's not soft like my dad. My mother is a bit. If this is my father, you can imagine my mother is much more stronger. So he thought this is some kind of whatever. He completely forgot about it. He didn't bother much. What used to happen was that as this was happening, next 3 months, my brother's situation became worse. We had to cover him at night time. We would tie his hands. He was by that time about 8-9 months old. We would tie his hands in a muslin cloth so that he doesn't scratch the wounds. We would cover him with a thin muslin cloth. There will be ooze from those wounds. In the morning, the cloth would be stuck to the skin. And I remember this very clearly. Myself and my sister, along with my dad, we used to sit with a cup of glycerin, some glycerin and cotton wool and gauze. And in the morning, every morning we would slowly wet the cloth, inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter. We used to lift the cloth out, give him a bath in some disinfectant, and then that is how it was our schedule. Then in Hyderabad, there is a building called Shivam. So Swami came to inaugurate that Shivam building. And so my dad came to know that Bhagavan Satya Sai Baba has come. Now suddenly he remembered all those discourses that he has promised that he'll go and listen to him. So he wanted to go and listen to Swami's discourses. And he would take me, and the first bhajan I heard was Subramaniam from Swami. That was the bhajan I heard Swami sing. And my mother was interested in going not because of discourse and all of that, but because she had this son who is really suffering and who is going to die. That's what the doctors have told him. There's no cure, nothing she can do. So, the 3 of us, my 3 kids, and my dad and mom, and I would sit sometimes with my dad or sometimes with my mom, but we would go to Shiva. And lots of crowds, huge crowds, even in 1970, this was already 1974. Huge crowds, 1973, huge crowds. And in the mornings, crowds used to be less. In the evenings, crowds used to be more because people would go for offices and men folk would come. That's when Swami used to give discourses. In the morning, it used to be only a darshan round. When we went, some of the ladies, you know how it is when we are sitting there. Nowadays, the pushing and all that is reduced, but in those days, lots of people used to push and pull and all that. And my brothers, there used to be a little smell also coming from his body because of all of this. One lady or a couple of ladies said, "Yeah, ma, why do you have to bring such a diseased child amongst all of us? Can't you sit at home instead of bringing your poor fellow little one? Can't you look after him properly?" Like that, they told her. Now, I don't know about men folk, but for a mother to hear that, somebody else saying that you're not looking after your child properly is the most painful thing that she could have heard. She really felt bad and she was crying, and then my dad said, "Look, you go in the mornings because at that time there's not much crowd. I will go in the evenings, I'll record the Swami's discourses, we can come here home and listen." So this is how the schedule was divided. Swami stayed for about 10 days around that time in Shivam for its inauguration. Every day they would go, nothing much happened. I don't think Swami even looked at us. We were sitting somewhere in the crowd. Then the last day, Swami would come, and in fact I was there with my mom on that day, myself and my sister. In the morning, we were sat down. So Swami comes and then, waves goodbye to everybody, and from there he goes off to the airport. And we were sat, perhaps, towards the end of that hall, and the path was here. So quite a few people jam-packed into this. Swami came and was waving at all the ladies, and turned back from there to go back towards the main hall. And my mother from there, she could not hold herself anymore. She started shouting, "Swami, Swami, Swami," like that. She shouted 3 times. Do you know what happens when you shout like that in crowd? Have you ever been? Other people will come after you like as if you are some kind of, So they were like, "Hey, shh," like that. They were all came off. Swami, in the meantime, was going away. He stopped in his tracks. He turned back, and as he came with this one. He said, "Move," and he made path and walked straight to my mother. And then he came to us and looked at my brother, took him into his hands, and in his right ear, in Telugu, I don't know how many of you understand Telugu here, but he said, "Tagutadi, Tagutadi, Tagutadi," 3 times. Which means, in English, it will come down, it will come down, it will come down. Tagutadi means it will decrease, it will decrease, it will decrease, or it will reduce. 3 times he said that, smiled, and put his hand on my brother's head and gave the child back. He was wrapped in this bottle of clothes, and gave the child back to my mother. All happened in such quick succession. We were all happy. Everybody went, and after that, everyone, the same stinking child will become the most precious child. Very, very blessed child, all that. We also were in euphoria, and so in those, my dad was in the office. So in those days, there were no mobile phones, nothing like that. So we had to go home, and once we went home, then we had this landline. My mom called Dad, and then basically said, "You know what? Swami has blessed our child. And Swami has said that everything will be fine." So my father said, he was also very happy. And he said, "So what did Swami do? Did he give a pendant?" Swami was known for giving pendants in those days, right? So, did he give a pendant? Then she said, no pendant, nothing. Did he give vibhuti? Then she said, no vibhuti. Then what sort of a blessing did he do? For him, blessing meant either a pendant or a vibhuti. God touching, or God doing, or God saying something to you is not what matters. And he has to give you something. Only then he can prove that he is God to you. Not only he has to come down from heaven in the form of a human being, not only he has to come and announce on the Avatar Declaration Day that he is God, that's not enough for us. We still need something from him, otherwise he is not God. That's our state, what to do. My dad's state was similar. So, he thought, okay, at least my wife is happy, that's fine, I'll get some good food today. That is how he must have thought. And So that night, normally we had our food and everything, Swami had left. And next morning, our ritual of cleaning my brother's skin. So we did glycerin cup, gauze pieces, my dad, myself and my sister, my mom in the kitchen, getting ready to cook for my dad's office, lunch and all that. That's the situation going on. We lifted the cloth. First centimeter, no wound. Lifted the cloth further, second centimeter, no wound. Third centimeter, 10 centimeters. The whole thing was lifted. Not a single wound on the body. Nothing at all. As if this had been on the skin of, we have seen it every day for the last 8 to 9 months. Nothing on his body. It was as if somebody had, you take off a soiled shirt and put on a new shirt. It was like that. Somebody had removed the old skin and put new resplendent skin. And my brother was first time, like a baby, he was smiling, he was kicking his hands, no crying, or no, he stopped crying, it was so painful for him. Nothing. Here was as if one Deva was born on that day suddenly into our house. Of course, we were in joy, we rejoiced, we were in tears and all of that. And then, this was about 8 o'clock, around 9 o'clock, the penny dropped that you must look at the date, and the date was 7th of April. The exact date that about 4 or 5 months ago, that particular astrologer who had told my father and mother that your son will be cured on the 7th of April, and this was the 7th of April when this happened. The entire conversation came back to my father's mind. He was like, what did I ask him? Who will cure him? God will cure him. Which God? Any God that you believe in. You mean Lord Venkateshwara? Yes, Lord Venkateshwara had woken up on that day from his stone form, walked down these 7 hills, walked down the 400 kilometers, took my son and cured him. Exactly that's what happened. And not only that, he suddenly realized 1974 Swami was 49 years old. My dad on that day was probably 34 or 35. 35 years of my life, the Lord Venkateshwara, that who I have been praying and prostrating and breaking my coconuts and all of that, this Lord Venkateshwara, after all this time, I couldn't recognize him at all. Today he is walking amidst us. What a fool have I been. What a blind person have I been. What a dull-headed scholar have I been. That was his feeling. And on that day, Swami made his own feet the spiritual home for all of us and our family. This is how our faith was completely anchored in Swami's divinity. Today, anybody might say anything. Today, anyone might come and tell me anything. Even my own mind might play tricks on me. But all I have to go back to is the fundamental faith, the fundamental reason, the fundamental purpose, the fundamental way in which Swami had drawn our entire family to his feet. This was the foundation of faith for us, and from then on, our journey began. Very soon, on the 19th of April, we started bhajans at home. Until then, my father, in those days, especially from very orthodox families, you never sat with ladies and gents, never sat together, even when I say together, even like this, and did bhajans. You never did bhajans and all that. You only called your family members. You wouldn't call your members from the colony to come and sit with you. Which Vedam if you are chanting, what is your caste, what is your this, what is your pedigree, all these things we used to ask, isn't it? From that day on, everything had changed. We started bhajans on the 19th of April, 1974, and it still continues in Hyderabad in our home. We started Nagar Sankirtan within 6 months after that. We started Narayan Seva About 30 families come together and serve once a month 400 Narayanas who come and sit in our home and have food and go. Many other activities, Satyasai free tutorials, Satyasai free clinics, Satyasai youth programs, one after the other over the next 10 years. Swami had made it possible for us to engage in his work in some way or the other and make our own lives kind of an offering at his feet. We cannot offer anything else. Now you don't think whether I want to offer a coconut at his feet, whether I want to offer an agarbatti at his feet. What do? You offer yourself at his feet. That's all you can do. Manasa, Vacha, Karmana, with our entire, everything, every cell that we have got, if we offer ourselves at his feet, there's nothing else we need to do in this world, my dear brothers and sisters. This is an experience I didn't plan to share with you, as I said. As I came in, some kind of an inspiration inside me made me share that. I would just take a little break to ask you if you have got any questions that you want to ask, or if you have got anything that you want to answer in particular or focus in particular. Sister Sena had suggested one or two things that I shared in the convention. But if you have any other questions here before I move further, then please let me know, especially from the youngsters, youth, and every one of you. Any questions? Anything you want to share? Yes.
Doctor, if I may ask you, so what's your view on astrology? Since you had such a personal experience.
What's my view on astrology? You see, astrology has got the Navagrahas in it. Yeah, that's what it is based on. Now, what is the position of the planets in that horoscope? That's what will tell you an astrology, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes, yeah. Swami says, what can Navagrahas do when my Anugraha is there? If my Anugraha, which is grace of God, if that is there, what can Navagrahas do? Navagrahas will be, Swami didn't say Navagrahas didn't exist. Swami didn't say astrology doesn't exist. Swami didn't say, Swami is not here to condemn anything. These are all Shastras. These are all things that have been started or came from the Godhead himself or herself. Where it has come from that point, nothing can be wrong. But it is the interpretation of people. Who is telling you the astrology? Who is telling you what? The same thing, if you take it to 3 or 4 different astrologers, they'll tell you 4 different things. There is another experience which is again very personal. I will not go deep into it, but where my grandfather could not predict the death of his son. I asked him, what is your astrology? Because every day he would put his astrology. What did your astrology do to predict the death of your son? Has it given you any help? Has it given you any solace? Nothing. Whereas Swami's one kind word, Swami's one kind look, God's anugraha, grace, is what will change life. Navagrahas cannot do anything for us. So it is better, my view on it is, for myself is, I hold on to his feet. That is why I started with that, it is my spiritual home. I hold on to his feet like it is, there is no tomorrow. Like it is nobody's business. That is how I hold on to him. Tight. And then carry on in my life. What will anything do? My karma, what can it do? What can I do about my karma? By wearing some orange stone, if somebody says it will change, I would rather go and catch hold of his feet. Why should I wear an orange stone or a red stone, depending on what the Navagrahas are saying? That's my view. It's my personal view. In my family, to come back to this, in my family, we have scholars. My cousin brother is an internationally known Vastu expert. He travels around the world. He's come to Malaysia as well, to many industries, specializes in what's known as industrial Vastu. So when people build factories or they want to sell machinery or something loss-making, whatever they call him. You name the top industrial houses in India, he is a consultant for all of them. He learned this from his grandfather. At that, of course, he's properly trained. He's done his, he's an accountant and all that. But when he was, after his bachelor's in commerce, 1 year he didn't have a job. So his grandfather said, "You are not doing anything anyway, sit with me and I will talk to you about Vastu." And that is how he learned his Vastu Shastra. And after 25 years in his life, what his accountancy could not fetch him, today he is a multi-millionaire because of his Vastu Shastra. So I was skeptical about it. Me being, again, as I said, all this, even spiritual ego is ego. Sometimes you think, God, grace is there, man, I can do anything. I can jump from Mount Everest. Yeah, you jump, but you don't know what. You don't have not made any plans, and then you expect God to come and save you. Why should He save you if you have been stupid and foolish? Why should He save you? So anyway, so what happened? Swami came to inaugurate in 1992 the Satyasai Nigamagamam, it is called. I don't know. Satyasai Kalyan Mandapam. It is actually a Kalyan Mandapam, a marriage hall, but it is called Nigamagamam. Okay. Swami came to inaugurate that. The Prime Minister of India was there, and in the morning, Swami started his discourse extolling the features of the building, and there he said, today, in Telugu, this was a poem. He said, today the gods, the devas are watching the inauguration of this building. They are marveling at the beautiful features. Indra is seeing what's going on. All the celestial gods are there in the sky to look at this perfect, according to Vastu building. He said, I got a shock of my life. I said, what is Swami saying? According to Vastu. So I better start believing in this Vastu, So, not that these Shastras don't exist, not that we have to condemn them, rubbish them, any of them. It depends on who is interpreting them, with what sanctity, with what sacredness. There are commercial things nowadays. People make money out of it. People make all kinds of, they want to make quick buck when somebody is in difficulty, isn't it? That's quite possible. So, I think these Shastras definitely exist. They are from the Vedic, how we understand, how we interpret these. That's the view I have taken in life so far. I have benefited from Vastu after that. I used to have my own clinic. I'm a dentist. Initially started as a dentist, and Swami asked me to start my own dental clinic. So in Hyderabad, Swami named it. I told him, he said, what have you named it? So I told him, Swami, Sai Dental Clinic. Sri Sai and Veeru. Sri Sai Dental Clinic. So the Sri was suggested by Swami. He said, okay, you start with Sri Sai Dental Clinic, and he told me which day to start, when to start, how to start, and all of that. In that clinic, the same brother of mine, I went to him after that, because Swami said, Vastu, no, so I also now started going down the wrong side of his Shastras, man. So I went there and I told him. So he put a map and told me, you put your sterilizer here, you put your autoclave here, you put your refrigerator here, this, blah, 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 all that. I misinterpreted the drawing. And I kind of put that in some different way. I started having massive electrical problems. I never realized. I thought it's just the scheme of things, whenever I would put a new AC on, within 2 days the AC will have a problem. I put a new bulb on, something will go on. I'll have something else continuous like this. But I was not sensitive to all of that. I just carried on. I just thought it's part of the happening. One day this brother of mine, after about 4 or 5 months, he came for his own dental treatment. He walked in and he said, hey, what have you done? I didn't give you this map. Why did you put it like this? You changed it. You must be having a lot of electrical problems, no? He said, okay, now the penny dropped. So immediately I changed it, and after that it was quite smooth sailing. So this is not an advertisement for Vastu or for my brother. it's just my experience of that. Anything else? Any other question?
Brother, as a doctor,
yes.
You became a doctor after you became a Sai devotee.
Yes.
So my question to you cannot be, I can't ask you now, did you treat your patients differently after becoming a Sai devotee? I can't ask you that. But in comparison with other doctors who work with you, your treatment of patients, is it any different from other doctors who are not Sai?
Well, I don't consider it, I don't look at other doctors, honestly. I look at myself. What I do is my treatment better today compared to yesterday? Having been a side OT, am I a better person today? If I'm a better person, then the way I treat not just my patients, but all the individuals, is got to be different. I have to keep making progress every second, if not at least every other day, if not every other week. This is how I examine myself. So I don't want to comment on my performance in association or in comparison with other doctors. That's not my job. My job is to look after myself and how I am doing, how I am implementing Swami's teachings in my life. So Swami himself has said how doctors are, and each one of you, I'm sure there are doctors in this. Any doctors in this audience? Oh, any one? Okay, one. Good. There you go. And two.
Husband and wife doctors.
Husband and wife doctors. What branch is it? General medicine.
Family medicine.
Family medicine. Okay. And any aspiring doctors? Any aspiring ones? Young ones? Anyone here? Children? Anybody aspiring to be doctors? I can tell you this, I will definitely make a pitch, sales pitch. One of the best professions in your life. Honestly, you may be anything, you can help others, but as a doctor, you can do a lot of Swami's work in your profession. You can be of help to many, many, many people. Just not giving medicine. You must have read Swami's discourse. How you give medicine, how you treat patients, how you even smile at them. Not just a patient, anyone, but as a doctor, you have got immense opportunity to keep implementing these. Sometimes you forget, and then you would have treated a patient in a slightly different way from what uncle had asked. Being a side devotee, immediately I am reminded. It is immediate. And then the next patient, I have an opportunity to treat better. Just such kind of opportunities you may not get in your life in any other profession. Please join medical profession, especially for the youngsters. See what happened. Uncle's question I'll answer with one. I was in my ward, and mine is a specialized ward because it's neurosurgery. And but in UK, as you know, all health service it's called National Health Service. It's free for everybody. If Swami's principles are being implemented, definitely in UK it is. Nobody needs to pay anything. And whether it is neurosurgery, the most advanced surgery, or it's a simple paracetamol, everything is free. So if I treat 50 patients, if I treat only 5 patients, I get the same salary. I don't earn more, I don't earn less. I can treat everybody according to their need. That's all it is. So in such a place, on my ward, what happened once was that there was a lot of a flu epidemic, and they were getting every patient, family medicine patients, general practice, every patient were getting onto my ward. And what happens is neurosurgical beds are premium beds. If somebody else comes and occupies that, that means my operating list on that day I can't admit them. All the operations are gone, and these people, some of them, every doctor feels their patient is most important. Okay? So for me, I felt my patients are being cancelled, somebody else is coming and sitting in my bed, they've got no right to be here. Why is this happening? So you're all irritated on that day. One of the nurses, she came to me and said, there is one of this patient here, he needs some whatever fluids or something, can you please come and attend to this patient? I said, no, that's not my patient. In the sense, it was really not my patient, I was not in charge for that patient. I said, call the doctor who is looking after that patient. So he said, okay. She said, okay, and went away. I went on and attended to other patients and other jobs. And it was around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She asked me in the morning, and I came around 3 o'clock. By that time, the nurses have changed, and another male nurse was there. He came to me. Again, he asked me, can you please see this patient? I said, what happened? She asked me in the morning, and I said, then he said, we tried calling the doctor so many times, but they haven't come. We don't know why they haven't come. And then I got a bit irritated and said, just because they haven't come, I'm doing something else. Why are you calling me all the time, man? had a little bit of a. And then I stopped and I said, why did you come and ask me? Why are you coming to me? There are other doctors as well on the ward, other neurosurgeons. Why are you coming to me? He said, well, I've been watching you since morning, and you are approachable, you've got some calmness around you, and I thought this chap is trying to play a fast one on me. I mean, somehow to get me to work, he's trying to put me. I said, hey, brother, I've seen many fellows like this. I said, look, I just not have the time, and I have to go and look after other patients. And that was truth. I mean, so I walked off. As I was walking off, somewhere the thought came in my head, if it was Swami's hospital, what would you do? That's it. I stopped in my tracks, went back. The patient needed some line and everything else. I spoke to him and I put the line, I put the fluid bag, and I said Sairam and apologized to Swami, and I went back. So to your question as to how I would be, different. You see, I myself am living in a glass house. What right have I got to pick up a stone and throw at somebody else? I have to look at myself as a Sai devotee. Swami has given me so much love. Swami has given me so much of his time. Swami has given me such of his wisdom. He has put in me, he has given me opportunities, he has given me uncles and aunties, he has given me brothers and sisters, together with whom I serve, I live, I breathe, I pray. Everything I do is with our Sai brothers and sisters. Yet if I am like this, then how can I talk about how the other doctors are? I can only talk about how I am yesterday and how I am today. I hope that I have learned a lesson, and every time there is an opportunity to serve, I look at it as an opportunity to serve and take the chance and go and serve. If I can't, then at least I won't shout at people. I try my best not to shout at people, and then I fold my hands and say, look, really I'm sorry, and I look at some other alternate ways in which probably that could be done. So that's the lesson I learned from something simple like this. There are many other lessons in medical profession which Swami has literally driven home into my head. Otherwise it won't be possible. Okay. So yes.
Today Suresh was talking a great deal about the youth coming in to do service activity. Now, what is your advice? Life is difficult these days, I know, with mounting cost of living and so forth. So many youth have to do tuition, extra tuitions. I was so shocked at one doctor who just passed out doing locum. She works the whole day and does locum, which I never heard of when we were younger. But they say we have to do it because life is difficult. We have to own a house, we have to buy a car. How have you, I suppose you have a young family. Have you a young family?
Yeah, I have a family. Young or old is is a relative thing.
I was wondering what is your advice of time management and priorities and so forth? As Sister was saying in her days, they never did locum at all when young doctors, whereas now they do.
Yeah, I think this, because a lot of youngsters are here, I'm saying that I think we should stop this thing of, in my day, this is what should happen. Because the day has changed. In Swami's presence in I think it must have been 2000, probably 2001, 2002 Ram Navami discourse in Vrindavan Sai Ramesh Hall. Swami is, the speakers before Swami said, Swami, you must ensure Ramarajya now. And all that they went on. 2 or 3 speakers came and said, now today we have got Sai Ramarajya, all that kind of thing. We all become a little excessive in our praise. Swami doesn't need such kind of praise. So when he got up, he started speaking. Speakers before me and everybody says that I must have a Ramarajya. How is it possible? In Rama's time, the dharma was different. The ministers were of a different caliber. The education was of a different type. Women had some certain codes. Men had certain codes. In that situation, Ramarajya was possible. How is it possible today with ministers who are half or more than corrupt? How is it possible today that women go and fight in the army and fight in the... Please don't think anything, my dear ladies. Directly went on. And he literally hammered everybody. He said, in my opinion,
You must take up, if you go and look after somebody, who will look after your children, who will look after their family, today's children are tomorrow's citizens, all that. So I think for us, we acknowledge that these are tough times. That's the first thing we have to do. As adults, as elders, we have to acknowledge that yes, there are tough times. Yes, even from the times that I grew and now, I can't imagine emails and phones and social media and stuff. It is there in your hand. We never had any of those gadgets. Even in Prashant Nilayam, things changed. In the hostel that I lived in those times and hostel that they live now, slight changes are there. So we acknowledge that. Now, what we can see is how do we support them? Instead of berating them and saying, you're not doing service, you don't have this, you have to prioritize time, you have to do this. If they are whiling away their time, then by all means give some good advice to them. But it's important not to keep saying the youth are not doing this, the youth are not doing this, the youth are not doing this. Instead, let us say, right, guys, these are things that you should be able to do, right? Let's see if you can do. Social media, you're very good at it. Imagine the program, the convention, the quality of the presentations, the quality of the videos, the quality of mic system. I can't do those. Can I? I mean, it's impossible. I can't. If you hire people from outside to come and do that in your conventions, it will cost us a bomb. Whereas these youth with their talents, they offer that talent at Swami's lotus feet. Why have they done that? Not because the adults have come and told them do this. They have done that out of their willingness to serve Swami. That is the way in which they serve Swami. So my sincere advice, my request, I'll fall at all your feet for the youth. This is the way the world is. Within that, let us look for ways and means in which we can interest them, the ways and means in which we can engage them, the ways and means in which we can involve them, support them, make them feel that they're a part of our larger family. As far as time management is concerned, I can only tell you one thing. Priority is Swami. As long as you keep Swami as your priority, above your jobs, above your studies, above your anything, he will look after you. I am an example of that. I am a recipient of all those gold medals. Apart from Bhagwan, that's the most valued gold medal for me, but I have got another 6 gold medals. And if I tell you the story, it will take another 1.5 hours for me to narrate what happened in my academic career. At every step in a foreign country like United Kingdom, I was not born there. I went there from India. I trained in India and went there. I am a foreigner. I don't have the local passports. I am not a local person. I am not white in the way I look. I'm sorry I'm bringing all this, but these are the ways of the world. That's how it works. I don't have an English name, proper South Indian name I have got, and they can spot me from a distance. This is who I am. Neurosurgery, of all surgeries, has got 15 seats in the entire country for training programs. Hardly anybody else gets in there. Not even a foreign mosquito will get in there. You know, there are no mosquitoes in UK, by the way. But it is purely Swami's grace that I was given an opportunity. I applied for it and I was given an opportunity. There are so many instances. Every gold medal, there were, because of some circumstances, I could not prepare very well. I was known as a university topper. And within 3 months, I had to prepare for about 8 subjects during my final year. I just didn't have the time. I was doing my best in those 3 months, but it was not sufficient. And at one stage, I was, because I was a topper and I would be losing my position, I used to sit in front of Swami or cry or whatever. For every paper, whatever I read in the last 8 hours, 80% of the questions used to be from those last 8 hours. After a while, one of my very close friends, I would ask him, I didn't realize, I would go in the morning and say, hey, have you read about the whatever, one system? And he would say, no, I haven't, I said, you better quickly read it. And it so happened that whatever I used to ask him used to come in the question paper. So this chap thought I had somebody had leaked me leaked the question paper to me. He's a close friend of mine. I said, hey, Veeru, has somebody given you the paper or what, man? Because we knew the governor of the state, the chief minister of the state, said somebody must have leaked it for me. He knew my personal circumstances. And so This is how Swami helps you. Many other people here will tell you, when you're doing Swami's work, he lightens your burden. He makes it possible for you to excel in life. But put Swami at the top. 1998, January 14th, 13th, around that time, another discourse, you read it. Swami on that day is saying, you do my work. I will ensure that your work will be done. I will ensure that not only your work, but anything that is related with you is completed. I will ensure that my grace flows on you in abundance. Not only on you, for 7 generations of your family, my grace will flow on you if you look after my work. So my dear youngsters, whatever I have said to the adults is one thing, but to you I will say, keep Swami as the top. If you have an exam, prepare for it. But you have got to do something. Today, Brother Mahindran was telling me, it's his brother's engagement and he is the presiding person for them. But where was he? He was at the convention. Only after it finished, he made sure he went. There are many such instances. Professor Arvind Kumar's daughter's wedding. If you go onto the YouTube or somewhere, you will see the story he has described. How Swami had tested him. His own daughter's marriage, he went there as a guest. But by the time he went, everything was organized for him. Everything for the wedding had been organized. Swami said, saris, you name it. The story is there. Like that, there are many instances. So, if we offer ourselves to the Lord, I'll narrate one borrowed story which I heard only 2 days ago from Uncle T.G. Krishnamurti. I don't know whether he's coming to this center to speak, but he narrates one story where Swami, in 1967, he was an atheist. Not atheist, he didn't believe in Swami. Uncle T.G.K. did not believe in Swami. He is now an 82-year-old man, by the way. And in 1967, Swami, he had a Mercedes car. So somebody told, his wife was a believer, devotee. Somebody told him, hey, can we use your car to take Swami around? He said, yeah, no problem. What do I need to do? He said, you drive it. We will have some person who will come and tell you where to go, what to do and all that. Swami will get into your car and we will use your car to take. 1967 this is. So next morning, this man was ready. Swami suddenly came and said, hey Krishnamurti, sir, let's go. And he got into the car. And then Krishnamurti sir told Swami, I don't know where to go. He said, don't worry, I'll take you. I'll direct you where to go. He got into the car and Swami directed him. Took him about 10 kilometers or 10 miles out of Anantapur city, a town. And from the main road, he pointed at a dusty road and said, you take a right turn here. He took a right turn. As they went about a mile or so, under a tree, a big tree, one cobbler was stitching his shoes. So Swami wound the window down and said, hey, chalo, let's go. And that man said, oh Swami, you have come? I'm ready, let's go. No, completely baffled. He said, what is this? This is a cobbler. And then he started running in front of Swami's car. Then Swami said, hey, poor fellow is running. Why don't you make him sit by your side? Okay? This man is of a different class, of a different strata of society. He is driving a Mercedes car. And Swami is asking a unknown cobbler to get into his car. So anyway, he stopped and asked the cobbler to get in. Then, in those times, there were segregated settlements. So people who belonged to educated, higher castes or upper castes were living in some slightly posher place of the town, and downtown area, what we call it nowadays, like that. There used to be a tribal or a scheduled caste or whatever it was called, that wada or that place, where amenities were not great. So Swami said, drive there to his house. So as he was driving there was a stench, a dirty smell coming, and this man was thinking, here we have got Swami here, and all that. Swami was not bothered. The car stopped in front of his little hut, and the floor was, I don't know how many of you, dried cow dung. They used to put the floor with, because it's supposed to be curative and it is also supposed to be antiseptic and all that. My mother used to tell me, I don't know whether it is or not, so I'm just telling them. So it was that, and he put a little mat. The mat was torn. And so he said, Swami, please sit, Swami, please. This man didn't go in because the stench and all that didn't go to, he stood outside. Then Swami said, I call that fellow. So this man went and asked TGK uncle to come inside. He came in. And then this man, Swami, he saw all this dirty mat and everything, and Swami sitting on the floor as if nothing bothered him. Then he asked, Swami, can I give you a drink? So, Ayyo, what kind of a drink? Swami, please don't take the drink. This man told him, no problem. Would you have buttermilk, Swami? And Swami said, yes, bring. So this man brought in, the old aluminium glass full of dents, not a new glass, the same glass that he had drunk from, and what water he used, God only knows. He got his buttermilk and gave it to Swami. This man was sitting and thinking, Yo, Swami, don't drink. If you drink your stomach, you will have diarrhea, you will have all of this. Please don't drink. Swami actually drank and said, hey, Papa, give it to him also. And he thought, Ayyo, I'm going to drink this. What's happening to me? Anyway, he drank. And then Swami called the wife and two children. Swami blessed them. And then said, okay, fine, I'll go. And that man said, okay, you can go, Swami. He got up and went. It was a completely mind-boggling experience for Uncle TGK. Then he asked Swami, what is all this, Swami? Why? He said, what is wrong? He said, Swami, how? Why did you come to this cobbler? We could have brought him, if you had asked him, if at all he wanted to come, you could have stayed in Anantapur in my house where he was staying. And you could have just told me, hey, Krishnamurti, go and get this fellow from that place. And this is the most important thing, and there's a lesson for all of us. Swami said, in his previous life, for 10 years, every day, he would walk 10 kilometers, come and offer a lamp at my temple. In my temple. If he had done this for 10 years every day, can't I go to his house even once? That's why I went. Swami went to his house because this man had done a sadhana or an effort or a prayer for so long. That's why he said, I went to his house. So Swami, how did he know you were coming? Oh, no, he knows me because I used to go into his dream, and so he recognizes my face because I went to his dream. Yeah? Any act that we do. I was once sitting there. Swami called two boys and said, hey, andar jaake, go inside the house and check how many saris I have got, just count them and come back. And how many saris and how many dhotis you count and come back. It's usual, that happens all the time. So he went, they went. We were sat there and Swami looked at us in Hindi, he said, Humko malum hai. I know how many are there. Then Anil Prasad got up and said, Swami, why did you send them there? If you know how many are there, why did you send them? Are you checking? So whether these guys will come and give you the right? He said, no. I am giving them an opportunity to serve. So that when they are in need, my grace can go and help them. And I am saying to you all, every act where you make others happy. In the Narayan Seva that we have done in our house, as a child I was doing that, and I was in charge of crowd control and all that. I used to be quite, you had to be a bit stiff with them. But these ladies, these ammas, these ayahs, they would say, be happy Bangaru, be happy ayah, be happy, like that they would give blessings. And I know that it is those blessings that form a cushion around me and protect me from any danger, any calamity, any adversity in life. You have to go through it. You have to go through the adversity, no problem. But you will not be affected in any adverse manner. You will still be happy. At the end of the day, you may have no adversity, all the wealth and everything else, but yet if you're not happy, what's the point of all of that? Most important thing is to be happy, and Swami will keep you happy if you are in union with him. What is happiness? Union with God. Swami says happiness is union with God. If we are in union with Swami and do our activities, no problem. Keep that in mind and give his work priority. Then our work will be taken care of by him. That's what I would say for that. Okay? So, I don't know how much time I have got. Probably I'm I'm past an hour. Continue.
The
Pink pumping machine. Yes, Anand.
How is your brother?
Well, perfect. My brother after that day has never had any problem. His name is Sai Ram Krishna. He's the National Media Coordinator for Sathya Sai Organization, Sri Sathya Sai Service Organization, India. He is the bhajan group leader for Shivam, the same place where he was cured. He has performed many times in front of Swami. He's a good tabla player. He has got a daughter now, who Swami has named her as Sai Kirtana, and she is 13 years old. So that is how. There is absolutely no questions in our mind. Once his hand falls on our head, once his drishti darshanam bhavanashanam sparshanam sankata vimochanam. That's how it is. Once he touches us, once he looks at us, finished all our troubles, everything is gone. That's how the way we look at life changes. Our attitude changes, our perception changes. That divya drishti is given by Swami. He says, change your drishti. The srishti will change automatically. The srishti is creation. Drishti is your vision. If you change your vision, then your perception of the creation changes completely. So it's important for us that once we are in His abhayam, then there is nothing to fear for us. Coming to this pumping pink, I was just sharing this. If I don't know, I was asking Sister Sena whether you have come across a video called by a gentleman called Ed McCarthy. Anyone have seen it? Ed McCarthy. I think for the youngsters, hilarious it is. Full of wonderful messages, but also hilarious. He is a black American, Afro-American from I think from Chicago, I don't know now, who comes to Swami in different ways and got a funny way of narrating experiences. So there he narrates, he comes to Swami, he's a Sai devotee, Swami is telling us love all, serve all, love everybody and all that. So he once comes to India and wants to visit the Pondicherry ashram before he comes to Prashantilam, Pondicherry Aurobindo ashram. So he books his accommodation and everything beforehand, and but when he reaches there, he describes there is this really stern lady who is, she looked at me up and then she said, she thought this is a black guy, why is he here? And she already had antipathy towards him, and she said, no room has been booked under your name. So this man stood there and said, what do you mean no room has been booked under my name? I have booked it 2 months ago and even have received a letter from you. She was so dismissive of him. She just didn't want to talk to him, didn't want to look at him, didn't have any kind word to say to him. And this fellow has traveled hours and hours and come to a spiritual place. And he describes how his anger was rising and rising and rising all the time, every moment it was doing. I'm sure some of us might have had this experience in the accommodation office in Prashantilam. This is a test. So he was really getting angry, and he was about to, he says, I was about to blow my fuse and literally shout at her, and then he hears a voice in his head. He said, this is a test. This is a test. Then, he describes, he's a very funny guy. Then he immediately stops and says, what do you mean this is a test? She's testing me to the end of my tether, and now you tell me it's a test? You should have told me at the beginning, you would have pulled down. He said, no, this is a test. So then, the next thing he hears, if it's a test, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go away or what? He said, no, he gets a message, send her love. I taught you about love, send her love. Then he gets even more perplexed. How am I supposed to send her love? And so in his head, he feels, see, love means pink, isn't it? Normally, love, pink is associated with, the color pink is associated with love. So he thinks, let me do one thing. Let me send her some pink color. And so he imagines himself as a pumping machine, which is pumping this color, pink, cloud. And he says, I imagine myself as a pumping pink machine, and I kept pumping pink at her. I enveloped her in complete pink for about 5 minutes. She didn't bother about me, nothing. And I just stood one side and kept pumping pink. After about 5 minutes, he says that suddenly her demeanor changes completely. And she says, sir, when did you, it is so stark, his description. He says, sir, when did you come? And the man said, oh, it worked. And he tries it with Prashantilam, he tries it on different people, and whenever he tried it, it worked. Now, I learned about this when I went to Glasgow my very first few months in the United Kingdom. And I joined a hospital, I was very new, joined a hospital, and then on the ward, I had a colleague, a lady colleague, born brought up in UK, but also from Pakistani background. I don't know how many of you know this mental aberration of some kind of an animosity between India and Pakistan. Okay? So when I was in India, if you had told me I would have met a Pakistani colleague, I would have said, what? No way. But here I was in this Pakistani colleague, and she was known to be a very, very difficult woman. Not just to me, but to everybody, all her colleagues. She would just have some little, very thorny, just wouldn't really mix with anyone, give very cryptic replies, doesn't help anybody. All that, her reputation preceded her. By the time I went, they described this is the person. First few days I didn't bother, but after the first few days I noticed that I was the receiving end because I was the new guy around. She was literally having a go at me for every little thing. So then I thought, okay, tomorrow morning what I will do, I'll try this Ed McCarthy stuff. As soon as I enter the ward, I'll start talking pink at her. I did this for about 3 days. And on the 4th day, she came to me and she said, Veeru, so let's go for a coffee. So that's the first form. And then she started asking me about, have you completed your qualifying exams here? We need to do when you get there. Have you done that? Do you have any books for it? Do you know what to do? I've got some books, I'll come and give you. All the other colleagues were completely surprised at, how come it had happened. I didn't tell them the story of the pumping thing, but I can share it with you. And I've shared this with quite a few people, people who I know, and they have tried it, and they have come back and said actually it has made a difference in people's lives, how people interact with them. So if you want to try it out, by all means go and try. The other one thing I would like to share is there's so many things. So after as I said, after the initial faith was established, our love for Swami grew. And as your love for Swami grows, his love for you, his compassion for you continuously grows. It's like a mother and child relationship. If the mother, if the child is there, and the child is quietly playing somewhere, the mother thinks, this fellow is quite comfortable, man, doesn't need food, doesn't need anything. I can go and do my gardening or my teaching or whatever she wants to do, she will. The moment the child cries, whatever the mother may be doing, she will drop everything and come to the rescue of the child. Swami is like that. If we love him more and more and more, then he will love us more and more and more. And you can feel his presence closer and closer and closer in our hearts and in our lives. So after that initial experience, as I said, we continued our journey on our side journey, and at one stage Swami was coming to Hyderabad, and we wanted to, some of the youth boys, we wanted to escort Swami as a motorcade. Usually Swami's car would be going, lots of crowd and everybody wants to be near Swami's car. It used to be chaotic, and we somehow felt at that time, it's not, Swami is known to be a good discipline, whereas the whole city would come to a standstill, and people who are not devotees would be cursing, saying, oh, this Sai Baba has come, and look, we are going home late, there is traffic jam and all that. We didn't like it. So what we did, about 10 of us, 8 of us, we got motorcycles, we had a plan in our head how to form a motorcade. We went to the police commissioner who was going to drive Swami's car. With him, we took a dry run. We really played our part. We got motorcycles of the same brand, same color, same thing. So, the rest, and we went and bought ourselves a dress with a navy cap and proper, all the regimentation. All of that, we took every little care and became like an escort team. In fact, we didn't at that time use the escort at all. So Swami's plane landed. Swami's car goes to the tarmac. Swami gets into the car. As soon as Swami is coming out of the airport, he suddenly sees all of us in a formation. This is for the first time, for him, it was first time, at least he behaved, or at least he did as if it was the first time. So puzzled he was. What are you doing? And so he didn't say anything. And in the car, it's a green Mercedes car. And we followed then in the motorcade, and it looked like Swami was really liking it. So from airport to Shivam is only 20-25 minute ride, and we went there. We were all so happy. And Swami went inside Shivam, and we parked our bikes, and we just went into the nearby canteen to have a cup of tea, because whilst we were in the having tea, Mr. Raman Rao, uncle, I don't know how many of you know him, he is just passed away. He was the editor of Sanatan Sarthi until he passed. A wonderful man, great leader. He has written books with amazing stories. You can read that as well. And he came and said, "Hey, come on, Swami's calling you. Swami's calling you." And we dropped our teas and everything else and ran. And then Swami came out smiling, and then he said, "Look, I'm going to this Prime Minister's function. I want you guys to come and escort me." He stayed in Hyderabad for 4 days. Wherever he went, he took us. Before he would go, on the day of the Prime Minister's function, he told us the previous day, "Hey, be here on time, 8 o'clock, and we'll leave." Because we didn't expect to get so many chances, and our clothes were getting dirty. And this is, I'm talking about 1992, and well, in fact, yeah, 1992. So we had to wash our clothes that night, put all of them back, iron them, and all that. Whole night we were doing it. And the next morning we got delayed by about 3 minutes or something. As soon as we went, everybody went, "Hey, Swami is waiting for you." "Oh, you fellows, where have you got? We got a proper dressing down." There were really some special commandos that had flown from Delhi, because it was the Prime Minister's function. They thought we were something, a special branch, more special than them. And they started saluting us. Literally, we became this is how it is, isn't it? When you're associated with God, even the snake made it start to worship. Anyway, that's what happened to us. Nobody knew, neither Uncle Raman Rao nor the state president, like our Mahendran, he didn't know. Jagadishanan, he didn't know. You name anybody, Suresh, he didn't know. All such top guys, they didn't know what Swami's program was. Swami would stop the car halfway and then say, "Tomorrow morning, 7:15, be ready, we'll be going to Chief Minister's house." We would be the first people to know, and all these top leadership would come to us and then say, "Hey, where is Swami going tomorrow?" So he made us so important, And when we went to the Prime Minister's function, we were not invited. We were not invited guests. So after escorting Swami there, we just parked our bikes and stood in one row outside this Nigma room. And then Swami said the word, "Hey, ask those buffaloes to come." So we all ran. And then there Swami installed Ganesha statue. He was waiting for us. He said, "Hey, Dunnapada, what are you looking at? Lift the Ganesha statue." So we were the ones to lift the statue. And we lifted it. And then Swami created the 9 stones and put it in there and put some cement on it. "Chustav, why are you seeing? Come on, put some cement on it." So we helped Swami put some cement, and he asked us to place the Ganesha on there. We put it, and then he said, we didn't go in. We stood there. Swami again sent word, "Hey, ask them to come in." We went, and we stood in one line. Swami came with the Prime Minister, and you know how you would make a proper guard of honor. He showed like this, "My escort boys." We felt, for us it didn't really. We were just close to Swami. That's what made us happy. There are so many experiences around that. How Swami treated each one of us, what he said to us, and beautiful stories. Then as he was leaving Hyderabad, he said, "Amy, so will you come wherever? Will you come with me?" "Of course, Swami, we'll come with you." "Wherever I go, will you come?" "Swami, wherever you go, we will come, Swami." "Hey, what about your studies? What about your parents?" "We don't care, Swami. Just leave everything, we'll come with you." "I'm going to Prashanthi. Will you come?" "Yes, Swami, we are ready now. We're going with you to Prashanthi. We were all full of energy and so happy. And he said, "No, not now. You come to Prashanthi in January." So we went for 7 days trip, Hyderabad to Prashanthi by motorbikes, and on the way we used to stop at 2 or 3 villages, do some village seva, talk about Swami there, talk about the hills of, now you've got darts, like that we used to talk about the hills in the inner debts, drinking, all these things in the villages, sanitation, health, all that we used to talk, clean up the mosque or a tank or whatever, do some seva, get onto the bike, go to the next village. Like that 7 days we went to Swami's. As soon as we went, Swami was so happy. And first time in Prashanthi, Swami's car, we escorted all the way up to his door. Can you imagine? I don't know how many of you seen the old which the round circle was there in the middle, still the sands were there, Sai Kulan's hall was not there. We would, and all the Swami and everybody would look at it, hey, where are you going? We didn't, we just went and Swami allowed us to go right to his doorstep in our motorcycles. He gave us so many, we were the ones to escort Swami for the sports meet. Now you see for the sports day, if you look at the videos, you will see the boys and girls also, sisters also, taking the motorcycles. We were the first ones that Swami had given us. To that, we were sitting down, some of the adults, some of the others who come there, they would pray to Swami and say, Swami, please give an interview. Swami would say, hey, Fustanavada, you are looking, isn't it? There's no time, I'm very busy. He'll walk 2 steps, come back to us and say, this evening, 4 o'clock, I'm going to call you for an interview. Be ready. One day, in the interview room, next day he said, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, I'm going to call you again. To the whole world, he's saying he is busy. But for the youngsters, the 8 of us who were there, we had billions also. So 8 into 16. Right? All the 16 people, he would say, we'll call for an interview. And he used to talk, he spoke to us on so many matters of personal matters, spiritual matters, life in general, all of that. So we were the kings. So we went back. And next year again, we did the same thing. We did the Gram Seva. We went to Prashantagar. Swami didn't even look at us. Even from a distance, he would not look at us. He didn't smile at us. He didn't look at us. He made sure that the whole Prashantagar knew that he was avoiding us. So he'll look at us from there. Then he'll slowly walk. We are sitting here. He'll come till you. He'll talk to you. He won't even look at you. And we are trying to get up and grab his attention. He will completely ignore you as if you are not even existing there, not even as a dust particle, and then walk away. After 2 days, people stopped sitting by our side. Because they thought if you sit by this fellow's side, Swami won't even come this side. And they used to go avoid us and sit somewhere else. That is how he treated us. We felt, we cried, we prayed, we sent telegrams, we sent this, we sent that, we repented, we did. Whenever such things happen, you do emergency prayer to God now. So we did all emergency prayers, emergency telegram, emergency agarbatti, emergency bhajan, everything emergency. You want God to come there and there. Swami, sorry. He did so very bad, feeling very dejected, we went back. After about 2 or 3 months, Swami got one of our leaders. Swami used to call him commander, and he was there, and Swami called him for an interview. Swami spoke to him, and he avoided our subject completely. At the end, this man had to ask Swami, our boys, after I called them my escort boys, what kind of a life are they leading? Have they changed in any one way? Have they improved their behavior in any one little bit? Have they thought about Swami continuously? How much of love I have given them? How much of time I have spent on them? If you don't want to listen to my word, why would I want to waste my time on you? If you do not respect my words, why should I respect their prayers? This was the message that was sent to us. Once I have called you mine, I expect some genetic imprint of divinity in you, isn't it? If I call myself your child, if I go and tell my dad I'm your child, then I must have some genetic similarity with my dad or my mom. You call me your mother, you call me your father, but there is not a single iota of divinity or a divine nature in you. You have not even changed after I gave you so much of my time. Swami was feeling pain. Swami was feeling bad that he had wasted his time on us. And that is how God waits for us. He gives us, He hooks us, till He cooks us. And after we get cooked, also, if we don't, He's waiting for us to come back to Him. This is the whole drama of this creation. This is this whole drama of this life and birth, where God is waiting for us to go back and merge with Him. He used to tell us, I don't want anything from your Bangaru. I do not want anything. I only want my love back. Because that is not your property, that is my property. Swami used to say, I do not want nothing from you. I only want your love. That is also because it is not your property, it is my property. I want my love back. Like that he used to, as youngsters, he taught us so many things, little things in life, how to lead it. He always took care of us. As youth, always took care of us. Sometimes, as a youth leader, when you grow up a little bit, you will have some problems. Girlfriend problem, boyfriend problem, finance problem, mother-in-law problem, father-in-law problem, father problem, everything is a problem. So some of the boys, used to have all these problems. So the leader, Swami would call him and ask, hey, what's going on? And then Swami, about what, Swami? He's still coming to service, Swami. So no, I'm not asking about his service, I'm not asking about his bhajans, what's going on in his life. Swami, how can I get involved in his life? How can I get involved? That's his personal matter, Swami. And that's it. You said this, and Swami got so angry and said, what? Personal matter. Personal matter. Why have I made you the leader? What will the world say? Satya Sai Baba's devotees are behaving like this. They treat their mothers-in-law like this. They treat their fathers-in-law like this. They treat their brothers like this. And you say, it's not your business. It's mine, is it? Thrashed. Swami thrashed the leader. We were just crying in front of him. Tappe kare, Swami. I will go and talk to him, Swami. I'll put him on the right. Because for him, each one of us is a child. I call you a brother, I call you a father, I don't even know who you are, what's happening with your life. I come to the center and I sit here and sing bhajans together, but once we have gone out of this place, I don't know who you are, you don't know who I am. What's happening in my house, what's happening in your house. When we are the children of God, then Swami expects us to be as a family, to be as a children of God, to support each other in faith, in times of happiness, in times of difficulty. Have at least that concern. See, you cannot say that you love somebody and not have the concern. Swami's greatest thing was his concern for things. In the same escort thing one day, for this Prime Minister's function, Swami called the Prime Minister and all the people for dinner, for lunch. We knew that Swami would just eat very quickly and get into his car and go. And we didn't want to miss the opportunity. So we skipped that lunch. We said, who cares for this Prime Minister's lunch, man? Forget it. We came out and got ready and stood by Swami's car, ready with the motorbikes and everything, whenever he comes. And as we expected, within 5 minutes, Swami came, got into the car. As soon as he got into the car, we just drove off.